Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is asking questions, all right? Nobody really likes to handle objections at the end of the call, correct? Once you give your price and somebody has objections of why they don't want to buy, or they want to get another opinion, or they have to talk to their spouse, or all these other objections you might get, nobody wants to deal with those objections. So the way to avoid those questions and or overcome those objections is by asking questions up front that you know you'll possibly need later to overcome those. Because once you give the price, when you show your cards, when you give your price to the customer, all bets are off, gloves are off, doesn't matter anymore. But at this point, we just came into the house, we just built rapport with the customer, right? And we're gonna establish our authority, and then when we get to our location, we're going to ask questions. Now, asking questions does a little bit of this. It helps establish authority. Remember I said earlier, like the patches and all that, and then putting your foot down and say, no, I'd like you to take me here, builds authority. The other thing that builds authority is having a pen, a clipboard, and writing things down and taking notes. When I do this, I look like a police officer or a doctor. Again, somebody of authority. When you ask questions and you actually write it down, customers are less likely to lie to you, because customers will lie to you. They won't tell you that their friend did the work, or they did the work, or something along those lines, all right? It shows you're listening. By me looking at a piece of paper and taking notes and nodding as the customer gives me the answers, it shows that I'm listening to the customer. And that helps build professionalism, they like us, and they trust us more. It gathers a ton of information on the house that you might never have gotten otherwise. I'll get to those when we get to the specific trade questions. But we ask specific questions to get information out of them that we can use later, all right? When we're asking questions and we're taking notes, we now have something to refer back to. We can look back at the paper and like, oh, what did they say about that? Or how long was this going on? We can go back and look at this stuff later, all right? If we have a set sheet with questions, we don't forget to ask the questions and or the very important questions anyway. We might not forget to price something. I'll get to that also when we get more into the trade-specific questions of how easily it is that you could ask a question, forget about it, and then all the way at the end of the service call, the customer reminds you, and you're like, I never gave a price for that. How stupid of me. Okay? One of the biggest things is it closes the doors of objections. So picture a hallway, and there's all these doors along the hallway, and you want the customer to go through the door with you. So we need to close doors all along the way. And the way we do that is by asking questions up front. And the biggest thing these question sheets do is they handle objections all the way at the end. And I'll show you those when we get to the trade specific questions, okay? So the biggest thing is going through these sheets every single time you go into a house. Every single time. And we have specific sheets depending on your trade. If you're a field supervisor, if you're an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC technician, or a drain cleaner, we have these sheets pre-made with the proper questions in the proper order for you to ask them so you don't dilute your system. So make sure you use these sheets. Just by using these sheets, I will bet your closing rate will go up 10 to 20% just by using these sheets. They are one of the biggest trade secret tools I have in my selling system. And once you start using them, you will literally feel lost without them. So make sure you use your sheets.